Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm a little bit early. Just wanted to jump on and make sure the connection was good. Can you let me know if you can hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to today, October 22nd, another live Q&A and a really potent, energetic day. Lots of energy coming down on us. So it's a beautiful day to be able to join you guys all live and share a little bit of the messages that I received about what's going on and how to work with these energies that we're feeling today. And again, if you're not feeling the energies, that's okay. We're all experiencing our nows in whatever way we're experiencing them. But I will share what came through for me about what's happening right now for us. It's a massive shift. We've been doing this all month, right? For October, literally upgrading into new timelines, new ways of being, new versions of ourselves, new frequencies of ourselves. And so this crunchy sort of growth is what we're feeling right now. I use the word crunchy. I don't know why, but that's just kind of how it feels. It feels very like, you know, you're being squeezed and then pushed out and then squeezed and pushed out and like navigating all of this stuff moving through you and stretching yourselves into being in ways that you haven't been before, right? So I'm going to wait a minute. Okay, good. It's 4:01. Fabulous. Hello, everyone. Yay, you're on live. Yeah, that does make sense, Aaron. It does. Yeah. Okay, you guys. So let me share quickly a little bit of what came in today around understanding what's going on with us energetically right now. Okay. So when you jump timelines or when you move into a different timeline, it's the same thing as shifting from one paradigm to another, shifting from one frequency to another, shifting out of old belief patterns into new belief patterns. It's all the same thing, right? The kind of really cool way of saying it is jumping timelines. But all it is you continuing to shift into another version of you, a higher version of you, higher meaning a higher frequency. However, what is occurring right now is that we are almost being pushed into that higher aspect of us. We used to kind of like whistle and kind of skip and be like, oh, I'll make up my mind. I'll decide what I want to do. I'll decide if I want to shift this. I'll decide if I want to change that behavior. Right now, it's like, oh no, you're going. This is where you're going. And how conscious can you get of what's occurring in your now? So the way you are behaving with people, the way that you speak, the way that you don't speak, the way that you hold boundaries, the way that you don't hold boundaries, the way that you are doing things that you don't want to do, right? The way that you are in situations or experiences that you don't want to be in anymore, that no longer resonate with you, right? You're being confronted with this all the time now. This doesn't feel good. I don't like this. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Not shouldn't, but this doesn't resonate with me anymore. I got to get out of this situation. I need to start speaking my truth. I need to start, all these things are being thrown in us. Our behaviors, we are watching and saying, wait a second, this is no longer resonating whatsoever, right? And so what we're doing is that we're literally shifting frequency. Okay. And so when you shift the frequency, you're shifting out of what has been experienced for so long, and which are old, we call them old paradigms, belief systems, programs, right? They are vibrating in a frequency that you are literally stretching yourself out of. And so what you're doing is you're starting to stretch into another version of you being in a different frequency, which is a timeline that's different from this timeline, that holds different ways of being, which are different belief systems, different thoughts and emotions, different programs, different paradigms. It's the flip side of what you've been experiencing. So for instance, let's say that you have a hard time holding boundaries and saying no. So you've always been a people pleaser and you always just sort of do things to make sure that other people are happy. And lately you're noticing it more and more and you're like, this is so uncomfortable. This is so crunchy. I can't do this anymore. Great. What's the flip side of that? The flip side is I stand up for myself. I speak my truth. I say what I need, regardless of how it's going to be responded, regardless of how the other person will react, right? That's the flip coin. That is you literally stepping into another version of you, holding a higher frequency within a different paradigm, within a different belief system. You're being you, but in a different frequency, right? This is what's occurring. And that stretch from, I don't speak my truth, I don't hold boundaries very well, I can't say no, I'm a people pleaser, which is not feeling good to you anymore, to, I stand my ground, I hold firm boundaries, I say no, I say yes, I do what feels good to me and resonates for me, regardless of how the other person feels. That stretch, that growth spurt is crunchy, it's uncomfortable. It's like, you've never done this, you've never been here, you've never done it, but we don't have time anymore. This is what's happening. We're being pushed into this other version of us that we don't feel quite ready to be in. However, because we are starting to resonate more with our own energetic fields and we're turning on, this version of us that we're in right now, that we're like, ooh, doesn't feel good anymore, we can't be in it anymore. We just can't, right? We can't do it. And so that is jumping a timeline. That is shifting out of one paradigm and into another paradigm. That is intention setting. That is manifesting. This is actually manifestation, but you're not realizing that you're manifesting perhaps, right? This is how you do it in 5D. Welcome to the 5D. Okay, this is 5D consciousness shifting, right? In a 3D field, right, when you're shifting in 3D consciousness, you are saying mantras, you're reading books. None of this is bad. None of this is bad. All of this is perfect and divine and okay. There is no judgment around how you do this. I just want to share the difference between doing it like we used to in 3D consciousness and doing it how we're doing it now in 5D consciousness, which is massive quantum jumping, right? In the 3D consciousness, the way you kind of shift out of one behavior and into another is you take courses, you take classes, you read books, you write mantras. It's all mind, right? It's a lot of mind. It's a lot of slow integration, tapping into what that feels like. Can I hold that feeling? How, that kind of thing, practicing. We're in a quantum field. We're multidimensional now. We're starting to access that, right? So what you're going to notice is whew, there's no time to think. You're just jumping and you're being, and you've got to trust, right? There's no books to read, right? It's just like, this no longer feels good. I am being asked to look at this other way of being, speaking my truth. You're hearing it, right? Because you're connected to higher self. Your higher self says, say no, hold a firm boundary. Don't hang out with that person. Why are you continuing to do this behavior? Why are you continuing to say these things, right? Higher self is guiding you in to this other version of you fast. So in this now moment, how conscious can you get of what is really being thrown in your face? What's being thrown in your face, meaning what is uncomfortable, and what's uncomfortable is what is being asked to be for you to shift out of. And what is uncomfortable, there is a flip side to that. What is the flip side? Remember, we live in duality, right? So the field of consciousness that our physical form is anchored in holds duality. So what is the flip side of, and this can be with anything, right? This can be in lack mentality in general, not having enough, always feeling like you've got to check your bank account with one eye open, right? Feeling like if a bill comes in, how are you going to pay it? Feeling like you live paycheck to paycheck, like you can never get caught up. You're always in defense mode when it comes to money. If somebody asks you for money, absolutely not, right? I can't buy that at the grocery store because I can't afford it, right? These are realities, absolutely true, absolutely real. and it's part of the 3D consciousness, right? However, there's a flip side to that, which is abundance and having everything you need and being taken care of. That's a frequency. That is an actual frequency, just like lack and not having enough and checking your bank account with one eye open. That's a frequency that you're standing in, right? You may not think it's a choice. And I believe you me, I get that. But from a higher perspective, it is a choice. But that's a massive stretch and crunchy growth from lack mentality, not having enough money, to abundance and always knowing you're taken care of. If you're going through that, just have compassion for yourself, okay? Because this is a frequency, not having enough, lack, that kind of feeling, right? This is a frequency of you standing. This is another version of you standing in the frequency of abundance. This is a frequency that you are currently standing in. So when you decide, okay, I'm going to try to step into this, I'm going to try to be this other version of me, whether it's abundance, whether it's standing up for yourself and sort of holding firm boundaries and saying no more or yes, no more, or what, honoring your resonance, whether it is stepping into unconditionally loving yourself, feeling worthy, whether it is speaking your truth, whatever it is, okay, you have to first acknowledge that there is an aspect of you in that consciousness right now. Otherwise, you're going to be searching in the dark. So there's an aspect of you currently right now existing in a frequency that is holding the flip side of what you're currently going through. That's quantum. That's the quantum field. That's truth. That's reality. And that's how you shift consciousnesses anyways. Now you're just becoming acutely aware of how this works. You're just now you're really starting to dissect what all this means and how this all works. Oh, okay, got it. So this is what it means when people say jumping timelines or quantum shifting or whatever the spiritual terms are, right? Yeah, it's you stepping into another version of you that already exists, and it's in a frequency. And that frequency is holding certain beliefs, paradigms, programs, whatever it may be. Still anchored in 3D, perhaps, maybe anchored in 4D, right? But you have to start to know that that aspect is there. And then you have to start to visualize, feel, experience, and be that version in this now, regardless of what may be presenting itself in the physical form, meaning with your third dimensional eyes. So visualizing, seeing, knowing, feeling, hearing, being this version in this now when you're not quite familiar with this version. You don't even know how to do it. You're not sure you can do it, right? But you've got to pull this frequency in and be it as much as you can as you are squeezing out of this version that you're in right now. They're both happening now, and you're squeezing out of one, squeezing into another, and that's a really crunchy experience, and that's what we're dealing with right now. That's what's happening right now. And it's choice. It's choice. It's choice. It's choice. It's compassion, massive amounts of compassion for yourself, because it's not easy. And when you manifest in 5D consciousness, it's the same thing. When you manifest in 3D, it's like a vision board, and, you're saying mantras, and you're doing kind of like tangible mind type of things. When you manifest and intend in 5D consciousness, you're just stepping directly into what is already existing. So you don't have to worry about how, what, when, where, why. It's already there. You are there. You are it. You just have to acknowledge and know that to be truth. And that's the hardest piece. And then you be it. You just try your best to be that. And then you'll slowly start to see your shelf shift. And what happens is, as you start to shift into higher states of consciousness, that kind of manifestation, intention, or jumping timelines, whatever you want to call it, happens much faster. It starts to happen much faster, because when you are a higher dimensional being, when you are literally physically anchored in a 5D consciousness or higher. Any of your guides, the ascended masters, higher dimensional light beings like the ETs and the galactic beings and all that, when they create a reality, it happens instantaneously. Why? Because they know they're in a quantum field. So they know that anything is possible if they can bring their awareness and intention into that which they want to shift into or be, and then they just literally shift their frequency to that. That's how they travel in different dimensional fields. That's how they got into the human form, but that's how you can create out of nothing. So for instance, in higher dimensional frequencies, the way in 5D and 6D consciousnesses, races that exist in 5D, they create instantaneously another life, right? And it's instantaneous, meaning that there is an intention and awareness of what's going to occur, what's going to drop down. There's an understanding that it's a different frequency. And there's an understanding that they have to shift their frequency into that frequency. Let's say if they're moving into some other reality or dimensional field, or if they're creating from nothing, right? They literally intend it into being. So they're manipulating energy, and they manipulate an energetic form, and they manipulate an energetic field, and it's instantaneous. So we're not there yet. Obviously, we're trying to just stretch ourselves into a little bit higher frequency right now in a dense physical form. Okay. So have patience and compassion, because you're very, very heavy. You're very, very dense. You're like a massive potato sack, and you are learning how to quantum jump in a field of consciousness that's full of duality. So always look at that flip coin, okay? Always look at the flip coin and the flip side of the coin, the flip side of the coin right now. What's the other side of what I'm experiencing that is not comfortable for me, that I'm being asked to squeeze out of? And that's what you're stepping into, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. That's what's happening. It's a really beautiful time. It's not easy to do this, right? Because a lot of us don't even know what's going on, but it is a really exciting time. We're learning how to be multidimensional. We're learning how to do this, you guys. Like, this is crazy, but it's also pretty fascinating, right? I mean, if you look at yourself a year ago, and even the videos that I was doing a year ago, to the videos that I'm doing now and the information I'm sharing now and how we are experiencing our now moments, it is drastically different, right? Drastically. And it continues to exponentially shift faster, which is what happens with energy, right? As you continue to get higher and higher in that frequency, you are exponentially increasing your frequency quicker. So it's a pretty amazing time right now, even in all of the uncomfortableness that a lot of us are going through. Because I'll tell you, for myself personally, the last 3 days, it's been massive paradigm shifting and massive anxiety and sleepless nights, and really staring at these paradigms that I'm holding and stepping out of that paradigm and having compassion for myself and trying to learn how to step out of that paradigm and into this other version of me. And watching all of the thoughts, all of the beliefs as I'm doing this, all of the ways in which I used to do it. For so many years, I used to be this specific way. I was this type of person, right? And now that no longer resonates, I can't do it anymore. I don't have a choice. And I'm being asked to go into this space. And that can create anxiety. It can create depression. It can create nervousness. It can create like sickness, nauseousness. It can create exhaustion, massive exhaustion, right? There's all kinds of emotions and things that you can be experiencing as you are stretching into this version of you. So there you have it. There you have it. Okay. So we've got about 40 minutes left to do some questions. So let's just start. I'm not going to scroll up. I'm just going to start. I'll just start right now. I'm going through all of this 1 minute up, 1 minute down. Yep, me too. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it. Yesterday was a massively exhaustive day for me. The last couple of weeks, October has been massively exhausting for me. Barely able to go to yoga. And, but the more we can observe, the more compassion we can have, the easier these shifts are, right? The easier the shifts are, and the more courageous we can be in squeezing out of it. So Sherry says, I don't know what to do. I feel like nothing is moving or changing. So be more observant. That's the only thing I can say. Move into the body and the breath, because there are things happening for you. There is energetic shifting going on. It just may be that it's quite a walk in the park for you, which is okay. Again, not everybody is going to be experiencing the same things, but your body is shifting. It is holding higher frequencies. If you want to experience that energy more, move into the body more and more in every now moment by finding your breath. Where is my breath right now? And if you sit, Sherry, and breathe and just sit on the couch, sit on your bed, there's no distraction. You take away all your distractions and you will feel energetically your shifts. Mark my word. You take away distractions from your life and you just sit with yourself. You just sit with your body. You sit with your energy. You will feel. You just may be designed in this lifetime to not have all of the craziness. It just may not be how you designed it, which is okay. Your body is still shifting. You're still consciously ascending. It's still happening. It just may be that you designed it to be quite easy and graceful with your guides around you providing that for you. Okay. But I would recommend, and this is for everyone, if you really want to feel your energy field, if you want to feel your frequencies, if you want to feel you, meaning your light, get rid of all distractions for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, and just sit. Don't even close your eyes. Just sit and breathe. And you'll feel you. You'll feel your energy. You'll feel your vibration. It may be subtle in the beginning, but you'll feel it. What's going on when you feel like you are flipping and twirling in your body? So that's you. I think it was Brenda. Let me just double check the name here for a second. Hold on. Brenna, what's going on when you feel like you are flipping and swirling inside your body? So one, it's an ungroundedness, right? So you want to start to anchor deeper into your body. So when I start to feel a little bit like there's a lot swirling around energetically, and I don't know if you're speaking energetically or not, Brenna, but I'm going to just make the assumption that you're speaking about it energetically. Beautiful, because what you're doing is you're experiencing the light that's coming in. You're experiencing your actual physical conscious body acclimated, assimilated, and anchoring the light. What a freaking amazing gift that is. But consciously, as ego personality, you can assist. You can assist it by grounding more, which means that you perhaps stop on the moments and in the moments where you are feeling that kind of swirling. Just give yourself a moment or 2 or 3 or 10 to sit. Go in a bath, go in a shower, right? Just quiet, just stop, don't move. Do your best to just not move. Go sit outside, go sit in the sun, go sit on grass. Do something where you aren't moving physically and that you're grounded down into the body. Walking in the woods is such a beautiful, walking anywhere with trees. Go and sit by a tree. I've said that before. Panic attacks, you guys, are very normal right now if you're having them. Anxiety attacks, very normal right now if you're having them. I have never had anxiety in my life. And this entire month, I've probably had about 4 to 5 bouts of anxiety. And it's extremely uncomfortable. and you want to control it. So anxiety throws you out of control, and it swirls you in this mind chatter that is really uncomfortable. But here's the thing with the anxiety, that mind chatter, you guys, if you have panic attacks or anxiety attacks right now, the mind chatter that's going on, that's creating that energetic angst, that is what is being asked of you to let go of. What is that? What's that angst? What's that nervousness? What's the anxiety? What is it? What are you hearing? What are you hearing in your head? What is the anxiety around? Because that is what your higher self is asking you to flip the coin on and become another version of you out of that, right? So for me, my anxiety has really been around financial money, which is bizarre to me because I'm the opposite typically. So I've been having this anxiety around money, and it's bizarre, but it's taking over me. It's like literally I am consumed by this fear and anxiety and nervousness. I can't stop it. I'm not used to it. And of course, because I teach, I'm aware of what's happening. I'm watching myself. And what I want to do is fix it, right? Okay, well, what can I do so I can fix it and take it away? Like, what can I do in the next moment so that I can take that anxiety away? And what really needs to happen is, what's the flip side of this anxiety? And for me, it's I can be in abundance. I can be in abundance. I can have abundance. I can open to abundance. I can open to that. And that's this flip. Yeah, you guys, shifting into higher states of consciousness is not a walk in the park, right? So pat yourself on the back because you're actually consciously doing it, regardless of how you're comparing yourself maybe to what I'm saying or what other people are saying. We are literally shifting consciousness. We're shifting out of paradigms. We're becoming higher dimensional beings. We're doing it, which means we have to actually do it, which means, what are my beliefs around money? What are my beliefs around love? What are my beliefs around me? How much do I love myself or not love myself? What are my behaviors, patterns, all of that? And guess what? It's not a magic pill you take. You can't take a magic pill and all of a sudden be this other version of you. If you've noticed, you actually have to do it, right? You have to consciously continue to choose and move through the densities to get into the higher consciousnesses. You have to choose the higher consciousness. You have to be the higher consciousness, right? Flip it to abundance. You don't have to stop or change anything. You just have to step into a different vibration. So you're not fixing something or changing something. You want to look at it as literally just shifting into a different vibration. The vibration of abundance. What would that feel like? That's actually available. Unconditionally loving myself. That's a vibration that is actually available to step into. Many humans step into it and feel it every day. Many humans step into this abundance energy every day. So they're literally standing in this swirling frequency of abundance. So when they walk around in their day, they're holding that frequency. They're experiencing that frequency of abundance, regardless of how much money they're making, right? It doesn't matter. They are living in an abundant universe. So they know that no matter what, they're taken care of. We may look at them and say, oh, you're not making enough money. You're only making this amount of money. How could you possibly be in abundance? They are living in abundance. It's a vibration. It's a frequency. Can you speak of osteoarthritic joints that are suddenly flaring up after years of remission, but now causing enormous pain and agony, Louise? So what I can say about that is that when high frequency light comes into physical form and you have ailments that have been sort of quiet or been taken care of by medicine or things that you've been doing, they are going to be impacted tremendously. It doesn't mean that it's getting worse. It just means that because it is like a Achilles heel, it's a kind of a sore spot within the body. It's kind of injured, so to speak. When high frequency light, especially right now, is coming in, these little like injured birds, the arthritic aspects of our joints, they're going to take a lot of force. Okay, so it's really, you want to be gentle. You don't want to have Louise, you don't want to think to yourself or have the belief that it's getting worse, even though it feels like it. You want to have the understanding and knowingness that you're literally being flooded with high frequency light. You're just not aware of it because you can't actually see it, but you're literally being flooded with high frequency light over and over and over again. And the parts of the physical body that may be wounded, that may be sore, but have been okay because of whatever we've been doing or taking or whatever, they're going to be impacted by it, right? But what will happen is the more you can allow yourself to think that it's not getting worse, it's just being impacted, right? And if I can hold the knowingness that it's actually healing as it's feeling worse, it will heal. So one of the things about those of you that are dealing with physical ailments, that's a massive timeline jump, right? I'm sick, I'm ailing with some sort of disease, some sort of thing, and here I am not. Massive jump, right? So it's not going to be, you're going to take baby steps up to that. But mark my words, the way consciousness works is the more light you hold in the body, the more illness and disease fade out. They can't exist in higher frequency states. It's how energy works. Illness and disease, pains, cannot exist as the body starts to hold higher frequencies. So you are in charge and you are making choices about what paradigm you want to believe and be in. Illness, pain, sickness, disease, cancers, those kinds of things are really hard to shift out of because you're experiencing it in that now, and it's very, very real. It's very palpable. You're actually feeling the arthritis. Don't tell me I'm not feeling it, and don't tell me I'm healed because I'm sitting here with arthritis. Totally valid. So can you start to recognize massive amounts of light flooding in? My arthritis is flaring up, acting up as it should because it is the wounded bird part of my body, but it is healing. It's healing. It's healing. It has to. That's how physics works. It's how energy works. So you can convince yourself if you want, because we are very powerful beings with our thoughts, but why not start to choose a different way of thinking, even though it's very, very challenging, those of you that are having physical ailments, but it's possible to start to in tiny increments, recognize that the light is clearing it out, and it may flare up for a certain amount of time until it clears out. Asthma's resurfacing, right? So what's resurfacing? What's starting to come up? Heart palpitations all of a sudden, eczema all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know, right? But it's the wounded bird parts of your physical body that are going to be like, start screaming, because just like emotions, just like thoughts, it's consciousness. Arthritis is consciousness that's just being experienced as arthritis, and it's denser than where you're going. So it's going to flare up in order to be cleared through. Just like what you've been doing for how many months, a year and a half, that we've been purging emotion. How often? I mean, we purge emotion by what? Feeling the emotion that comes up. That's it, right? We don't attach to it. We are not that emotion, right? We've learned this pretty well, right? That we're not the emotion. We're not the thought. We're just observing it so that it can clear through us. And now as these things come up, we're like, oh, look what's coming up now. It's just clearing through me. I know this. Why? Because I've been experiencing it for a year and a half, and it's actually true. It's the same thing with this physical ailments. It's just that it's a lot harder to trust that. It's a lot harder to trust it. Stuart, how do I get more grounded when I feel like things are going my way so freaking well that it feels like a fake ass Disney movie? Well, congratulations. For For your life to feel like a Disney movie, hallelujah, that's amazing. I don't know why you feel like you need to get more grounded. Like, is there a reason that you feel like maybe you are grounded and that's why your life feels like a Disney movie, right? You may not need to get more grounded. So I would just be asking the question of why do you feel like you need to get more grounded? I've been trying to open my crown chakra, invite in my family of light to help me become more intuitive. Awesome, Dana. Keep doing it. What else? Hands are getting swelling. Yep. I used to be very active and restless, and these few months I am clueless and I feel lazy and I want to trust the process. But what to do when you are still having to exist here on 3D? Tatiana's spiritual toolbook. Let me just read that one more time, Tatiana. I used to be very active and restless, and these few months I am clueless. Yep. And I feel lazy. Yep. And I want to trust the process. Yes. But what do you do when you are still having to exist? We all have to exist in this 3D consciousness. We cannot escape it. So that's one of the challenges of consciously ascending, because when you start moving into higher frequencies, the process of moving into those frequencies and still watching 3D consciousness can be really challenging, very hard, very frustrating, very annoying, like all kinds of different things are happening, right? And the human will convince themselves that they're not shifting because they're still seeing, experiencing, and being in this 3D duality. Just accept the fact that it's not going anywhere. And then when you find yourself in a reality, in a field of consciousness where you're no longer experiencing duality, then great, right? But for this now moment, you're going to continue to experience duality. However, you have a choice to step out of duality. You have a choice to be neutral. You have a choice to be in these higher states of consciousness, regardless of what field of consciousness your body's anchored in. So you can see fear, all the destruction and all of the chaos and all of that, and you can choose to hold yourself in a different paradigm. You can choose to hold yourself in a different reality. You can choose a different way of viewing it, right? So it's all about the way that you are visualizing, experiencing, seeing your outside world. How are you viewing it? How are you seeing it, right? As you shift, you're going to start to see everything very differently. So yeah, there's still going to be anger and war and greed and chaos and rape and torture and all of that. But in your field of consciousness, you're not going to be playing in that. You're not going to be jumping into that and experiencing that, right? You're going to be holding higher states of consciousness, non-duality, non-attachment, non-judgment, love, joy, peace. You're trying to hold those more and more, be those more and more as you are standing and watching all of this around you. That's why you're on the earth plane. That's why you're a light worker and a way shower, because you're going first. Okay, can you explain the idea that we have no free will, but need to make incremental steps with secondary thoughts? I don't believe that we don't have free will. I don't know what you mean, Maria. Can you explain the idea that we have no free will? We have free will. We live in a free will universe. So I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure about that question. Mashi Prings, do you have any experience working with solfeggies? I don't know what that is. Sorry. Victorious. As a collective consciousness from Earth, what's our mission? What's our part here in the solar system? What are we supposed to be giving? Okay, these questions are getting a little bit out there. I don't understand that one either. As a collective consciousness from Earth, we're not from Earth. So we are not from Earth. We are collective consciousnesses off Earth that jumped into the body. So I'm not sure what the question is, sorry. Cody Dean, my energy is being drained from coworkers. Any advice? That's great. So first of all, let's shift the story, right? So let me turn my light on for a second, you guys. Okay, so my energy is being drained by coworkers. Okay, awareness, consciousness. When I go into work, when I leave, I'm feeling drained. First and foremost, I think it was Cody that asked this. Yeah, Cody. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. You have an energetic field around you that's 1.5 feet out, okay? Every human form does. And you're sovereign in that space. So you have a choice, right? What you want to start to practice when you are in your work environment is your sovereignty. So what does that mean? It means as soon as you step out of the car, the bus, the ferry, the train, whatever it is, and you start to enter into your work, you want to visualize yourself in your field, okay? And you can visualize it however you want to visualize it. We are designed to be sovereign, which means that nothing can impact us unless we let it. So you are first and foremost going to visualize yourself walking into your workplace in your field. Just visualize it, whether it's a color, whether it's an actual shield, whether it is light, whether it's roses, whatever you want. Then you're going to start to get even more conscious than you already are. You're going to get extremely conscious of what it feels like when you are sitting next to, speaking to, having a conversation with on the phone, whatever it may be, conversation on email, whatever may be happening in your work environment, get conscious of it. How is that person feeling when I am communicating? Okay, that's part two. You want to get conscious of what it feels like energetically. So you're starting to become conscious. You're becoming aware. Nothing's happening to you. Because what happens is we go into work, and then all of a sudden we do work with people, and all of a sudden we come out drained by certain people that we've had energetic exchanges with. And what we want to do is get conscious that we are sovereign beings that have a choice. So one, I have an energetic field. Two, how am I energetic feeling as I start connecting with these individuals in my work? Whether it's on the phone, whether it's side by side, whether it's in a Zoom chat, whatever it is, get conscious. Three, when you're in that experience with that other individual, recognize your sovereignty. Recognize your separateness. Recognize the other individual playing their role as a human. And they're separate. Two separate individual forms with two separate energetic fields. If you start doing this, you will start to recognize their patterns. You will start to recognize what it is that instantaneously begins to rub you the wrong way or create dissonance or uncomfortableness. Instantly, you'll start to recognize it, right? When you're in a work situation, you can't always leave, correct? You can't always say, I'm not going to participate. I'm going to walk away. Can't do that in meetings or with clients or, with your boss. Sorry, boss, the dissonance between us energetically is just not working for me. I'm going to have to leave right now until your energy field changes. You just can't do that, right? So you have to learn sovereignty, which is I can walk into an office setting with very low frequency human forms, which means that their energetic field is not at the same vibration as mine, which is going to create dissonance. It's going to be like, it's going to feel draining. You're actually not energetically being drained. What you're doing is you're tapping into and feeling their energetic field. And it's like, oh my God, that's much denser than mine. That's a very dense energy field. Oh my God, I can feel that. That energy drain is you feeling how their energy is in their field. Nothing wrong with it. No judgment around it, right? We don't judge it, but it's not resonating at the same vibration as you. So you're sovereign. I'm sovereign. I've got a sovereign field around me. They're sovereign. They got a sovereign field around them. And how conscious can I get as I am engaging how I am energetically feeling? If you have the ability to not hang out for very long with another human form that is holding a little bit lower frequency than you, then exit the stage, right? Until you're capable of holding your own frequency and vibration in your sovereign field, regardless of what other humans are vibrating at, which you'll eventually do. You will eventually not be impacted energetically by any human with any vibration. That's what's happening. But first, we have to get conscious of how we're feeling when we're energetically bumping up against another human's energetic field. And you'll notice that you're actually in control and have complete sovereignty around you. But as you start recognizing and observing these other people, it's like, oh my God, this is dense. And I'm feeling that density. And I don't want to. And you don't have to. So you can hold yourself in your field, keep your own vibration, and just recognize what's happening and how you're feeling energetically when you do, right? Because you're tapping in against their bumper. So their field and your field are tapping, and you're just feeling their energy field. You're just feeling it, right? But if you know that you're sovereign and what's happening all around inside of you and all around you is okay, you're still going to remain in that. You'll be okay. Try it. Practice it. Practice that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Come back on another live and let us know what happens. Okay. A raise will do. Thank you for that, Edward Parr. I got this ring. It's amethyst. I mean, not amethyst. It's you guys know the name of this color. What is this color? Anyways, I got it in 2007 when I was at, do you guys know Patricia Cota Robles? In 2007, I went to her World Congress, and it was in Banff. No, not Banff. It was in Lake Louise. And I got this ring there, and it always holds really good energy for me. Turquoise. Thank you. No, it's turquoise. Yeah. We can do it. It works very well. So Jason said that he's doing exactly what I was describing, and it does work well. It does. And it's also part of learning you and your field and your sovereignty and how the form was designed. Don't forget, the form was designed to be able to walk in this consciousness and hold itself in your own field without being impacted. We're just learning that we actually don't consume another person's energy. It just feels like we do because we're bumping up against their energy field. It's a different way of understanding what's actually happening. It's a different paradigm. Hey, Lori, how do you think people with really dense energy fields feel around people with higher frequency? Are they vibrating too low to feel a difference in energy? That's a really good question, Sarah. Okay, so I don't know, other than how do I feel when I'm in another person's energy field that's higher than mine? So there's a couple different ways. They're either too dense to feel it, and they're dark, not dark in a bad way. It's the lights are out, meaning they're not even consciously aware of energy, much less how are they feeling in front of somebody, right? So you have to be aware of energy first and foremost to even feel how you're feeling. So many people are unconscious and just numb that they don't even know how they feel around people. So they may not even feel anything, believe it or not. Some people that are denser than the other, that are in a denser state than another human, may feel different. They may be shifted. They may actually shift into a different frequency for that moment, and something may shift in them. They may actually feel something different. They may feel a different emotion. They may walk out wanting to clear something with a friend, or all of a sudden wanting to say sorry to somebody. You know, there's little subtle things that can happen when a human form that is holding a denser version than another form that's holding a higher version. This higher version human impacts this human. It's just a matter of the denser human being aware of it, being conscious, right? Are they conscious of it? Can they feel it? And so many humans are numbed out and distracted and are not in the body, so they're not even aware. So there's probably a gamut of experiences, but mark my word, there are many denser humans that when they're around humans that are holding higher frequencies, they do get impacted in a very beautiful way. And what's also coming in is there's a lot of humans that get triggered. So meaning they want to feel that way, or they want to be that way, and they're not, and they can feel it. So they're really, really intuitive. They're very empathic, but they're not quite aware yet of what's actually happening. So they get triggered by the human that's holding a higher frequency because they want to be that which they're not yet, but they're being triggered because they are being asked to step into that, right? They're being asked to. It's like the higher self is saying, see that person? That's what you're going to start to be like. That's what you're going to start to talk like. That's what you're going to start to sound like. And the version of them that's in a lower frequency is angry and annoyed and like, what are you talking about? I already am that, and blah, blah, blah. They get triggered by it. They get annoyed. They don't want to talk to the person. They don't want to be around the person, right? It's just them recognizing unconsciously that that's where they're going. So there's a gamut of different ways, I think, that different humans can experience higher dimensional, higher frequency human forms. So Andonia, my body feels heavier, but I feel higher frequency. Can you explain why I am not feeling light? Because you're in your body. So welcome to being in the body. So what happens when you start shifting into higher states of consciousness is you don't necessarily feel lighter. You're going to feel density because you're in the body, and the body is heavy. So there's this idea, this program or paradigm that if I am in a higher frequency, that means I need to feel lighter, right? And that's not the case. When you start shifting consciously into higher frequencies, that means that you're in your body. And if you're in your body, you're going to feel like a potato sack. However, as you stay in the body and it starts to shift into higher frequencies, you will start to slowly feel lighter and lighter and lighter as the body anchors more light. But you're going to be heavy. There are very few days where I don't feel my heaviness, and yet I'm completely open, expanded, and in alignment. I'm channeling, I'm doing videos, I'm doing this kind of stuff, right? But I'm in my body feeling, I'm heavy, I'm dense. I'll walk around, I'll get up and go do something, and I can feel the heaviness. That's a really beautiful sign that you're in your body. It doesn't mean that you're not holding higher frequencies. It means you're in your body holding higher frequencies, and you just need to have patience as you start shifting. Yeah, the body does become lighter. It will start to become lighter, right? It just depends on where you're at in your frequency. Because eventually, when you are anchored in a 5D consciousness, you're a light body. So you can literally see through your hands, you can see through your arms, you're so light, and you won't feel this sausage-packed body, right? Okay. So the neck pain, the tightness in the neck, the headaches, this kind of stuff that's happening for a lot of you guys, it's just the high frequency light that literally is, you can almost imagine it getting stuck on a freeway. So there's all these cars going, and then all of a sudden the freeway system turns into 2 lanes and it backs up, right? So the high frequency headaches, the equilibrium unbalanced, the tightness, the tension, that kind of stuff that's happening up here and back here and around here. A lot of times, not for everyone, okay, but a lot of times you can imagine it as a backup of high frequency. And when it backs up, it can get intense. It can be painful. The only reason it's backing up is because it's flooding in. So you'll notice certain days or certain times where you're having more headaches or you're having more tension, more stress kind of feeling. It's not really stress, but it's a tension type of feeling. It's the body tightening up as the light is flooding. It's like squeezing into these channels. And when we get the flood, you may feel that, but your body will start to acclimate to it, meaning that it will start to assimilate those frequency codes. And when the next flood comes in, you won't necessarily have the blockage, right? Some of us have those blocks and some of us don't. They're not a block. I shouldn't say block. That's a really bad word to use. Not bad, but it's not a block. a squeezing down and funneling through. But as the body gets more and more acclimated to that high frequency flooding, it'll just start to just flood through, and you won't have the headaches, you won't have the tension, you won't have that kind of feeling, tightness. And that's not meaning that that is why everyone's feeling. There's a gamut of reasons why you're having headaches. But in these massive times where we're receiving huge amounts of light, like these portals that we're in right now, we were in a portal, 2 weeks ago? We're in a portal now. I mean, we're always in portals now, right? You'll receive high frequency freaking light and you may get headaches, you may get tension, you may have all that stuff. I recommend, I did this 2 weeks ago. I got a 90-minute deep tissue massage, took it away. So do what your body is asking of you. Tamara, I'm glad you caught me live. Hello, welcome. The only way you can widen the channels is that you listen to what your body needs. So, because your body's doing it. Your body is the one that's acclimating the energies. Your body's the one that's doing it as best it can. So the way that you can assist the body in kind of allowing that energy to flow more easily, not get kind of tightened, is to listen to what the body needs. My body needed a massage, a massive massage that was expensive, right? Oh God, there's money. Can I spend the money? Don't worry about it, right? Do what your body needs. Maybe it's a bath, maybe it's sweating, maybe it's sleeping, like figure out, maybe it's taking Advil, who knows, right? Like there's no right or wrong in what it is you're being called to do, to assist it. But in terms of like energetically preparing, the body's doing it. The body is doing it, really. It's doing most of the work right now. So it knows what it's doing. It knows this is just the natural process. It's the natural process of ascension. It's the natural process of massive amounts of energy flooding the body. And we're all going to feel it differently. That's the other thing. Like, this may not resonate with you. You may be resonating with some other message about why there's headaches and this and that, right? Because there's 1,000 million other ways of experiencing it. This is just one way that it may be. However, naturally, the body knows what it's doing. Yeah, I was in Thailand. Daniel says, go to Thailand, allows their $5 massage. I was in, I did a Bikram yoga teacher's training in 2014. It was in Thailand. And so we had, they were $3 massages, Thai massages, right? For 90 minutes, 2 women on top of you, stretching you, moving you, right on the beach. It was heaven. Now it's like $185 over here. Okay. Wine. Hey, wine will do it for people, right? I don't drink, but if wine is what's being called, then by all means, have a glass of wine. I can't feel the vibration. So Tamara, you may not feel the energy. You may not feel the frequencies. I don't necessarily feel them when they came in. I felt them today pretty intensely. I felt energies really high today. But I don't always feel them coming in. You're not going to necessarily feel the vibrations. You're not going to feel the flooding of energy. At this now moment, there will absolutely be another now moment when you're in a higher frequency where you absolutely are going to feel it. We're all moving through this ascension process the way we're moving through it, right? I would say the majority of us are probably not necessarily really feeling these high frequencies necessarily when they flood in. So it's okay that you don't feel it, which is why we don't understand what's going on, because we don't necessarily feel the vibration. Although a lot of us are feeling it. Just it kind of depends, I guess, on where you're at frequency wise. Okay, what else? So Verna, why do I have a constant ringing in my left ear? Okay, so ringing in the ear, there's a lot of different reasons why we have ringing in the ear. Sometimes it's your guide speaking to you, getting your attention, high frequency light coming around you, high frequency consciousness coming around you. So when high frequency energy comes around your field and you are vibrating in a frequency that's allowing you to feel it or hear it, it can be a ringing in the ear. So it's your third dimensional sense, which is hearing, tapping into a higher frequency, which is going to be funneled through and filtered through the ear. So there's a higher frequency around you. It enters into the channel and you digest it through the ear, right? So you hear it as a ringing. That's the first thing. Second, it could just be your body tuning the frequencies that you're feeling inside you. So the body will be tuning a specific frequency, perhaps. Remember, there's frequencies going in your body all the time, high frequency. So it could be, imagine like a tuning fork or a piano being tuned, or you know, a guitar being tuned. It could be a tuning that's happening in your body and you're feeling it in the ear. You're hearing it in the ear. It's also a sign that your multi-senses are starting to turn on, right? So if you hear ringing more and more and more, you are most likely starting to access your clairaudience, which is the ability to hear higher frequencies. So it's a gamut of different things. But a lot of us are hearing that. What I've noticed when I start to hear, when I get a ringing in my ear, I don't know if you guys have this, but what I'm noticing is that all of a sudden when the ringing comes in, all the kind of outside noise stops. It's almost as if I just, like every distractive noise has literally stopped. Like I just went into a different universe and everything is quiet except for that buzz. And it's like, wow, what am I tapping into? What is that frequency? Because it's not 3D, because 3D has sound. It'll sound like sound, right? It's a vibration, which is a high frequency. And so sometimes I will know that it is consciousness around me that's just being filtered through my audience, the clairaudience. Rachel, will I feel a sudden repel against someone I was once attracted to during these portals? Possible. Very possible. It can happen really quickly. So it's possible that all of a sudden, literally within, a 24-hour period or a 2-day period or something has literally shifted and you can no longer be in the presence of that person. So, but what I've noticed for myself is that will shift. So when we first start to get conscious of that which no longer resonates, we actually find ourselves having to kind of split from that individual. If it's an individual, meaning you need space, you need a break, you need a timeout, right? If it's a person that's going to be in your life, like a best friend or a partner of some sort or a family member, right? And there's a deep sort of love for them but you're not resonating with them in the moment. That will shift. I've noticed that. There will be people in my life that I resonate with for a certain amount of time and then I don't resonate with and then I resonate again, right? So it's always shifting consciousnesses and shifting energies. So there may be a repel for the moment or it may be a repel for good, right? So just be conscious of that. But yeah, that's your frequency shifting from their frequency. So you're no longer... Eventually, you guys, we will be in relationship with others that only resonate with you. It's not going to make sense to be in relation, meaning back and forth connection, if that individual doesn't resonate with you. Why are you doing that, right? It doesn't feel right. And because we live in a 3-dimensional consciousness right now, there is a massive amount of human vibrations that we can connect with and vibrate with. So what you'll notice as you start shifting higher and higher is that there's many humans that are not shifting higher and higher, and it just doesn't feel as good anymore. But there's that draw of like, yeah, but it's my best friend, or yeah, but it's my boyfriend or girlfriend, or yeah, it's my partner, or it's my mom, it's my dad, it's my brothers, right? It's like they're in my life, they're my support, or they're whatever. It's a timeout that you may need to take, because what eventually does happen, like I said in an earlier question, you do end up being able to stand in your own frequency, whatever it is, and be in a situation where other people are not vibrating in that same space. You're just not going to choose to necessarily spend time. You're not going to want to go to dinner with somebody that is vibrating at a very low frequency. It's just not going to feel good. But you'll be able to stand in it. You won't be repelled. right? But when you first start to recognize your resonance, your high frequencies that are shifting in you, there is that feeling of, oh, I can't do this right now. We're learning, we're practicing. We're practicing. Keisha, today I felt a lot of energy that felt warm and tingly in my arms while meditating. Is that example of accessing higher vibration? Yes. Hold on, I just missed that. So yes. Sarah said the same. It's like, oh no, that's a different thing. Okay. Keisha, today I felt a lot of energy that felt warm and tingly in my arms while meditating. Yes. So when your body reacts to high frequency energy around you, it will feel like goosebumps, maybe. It will feel like a vibration or a tingle. It can feel hot. It can feel cold. That's your actual physical form feeling the frequencies of these higher dimensional consciousnesses that are literally in the space with you, but existing in another dimension. So you can't see them with your physical eyes. That's why when we start to become more multidimensional, we start to see them with our multi-senses, which would be the clair. What's the clair with your eyes? Whatever that is, you guys, you know what that is. I'm so bad with the names. But the clear vision one, okay? You'll start to see them. That's using imagination though, because you actually could see that consciousness. It's an energy. You could see it if you started to play an imaginary clairvoyance. Thank you. You would be able to, because it's there. So when you meditate, when you bring in guides, when you bring in higher dimensional consciousnesses, they are literally in the room with you. Now, when you raise your vibration, forget about beings around you, okay? That's one way of experiencing it. You also may just be raising your vibration. When you raise your vibration in your body, you're going to feel energetically in a higher frequency. You're going to feel lighter. So here's where you start to feel lighter, right? Because you are literally in the body, raising your vibration and frequency in the form, and you're spinning, it's quickening. And when you quicken the energy in the body, your body literally starts to become lighter. And you will feel it through tingling, through heat, through this feeling of floating. Now, you don't want to get out of the body. You always want to be in the body, but it's a beautiful thing to practice and do every once in a while. You know, you always want to be in the body, but when you come out, you're still holding that high frequency. It's just being assimilated into the physical form as you're walking around. So you don't feel that high vibration as you're walking around, but that vibration is in you. It's inside of you. Any advice on how to deal with constant extreme exhaustion? Inverse prism. Well, I mean, I can tell you that I've been experiencing it like I never have before this month. And what I can say is that don't panic or think there's something physically wrong with you. Do what you need to do. It's going to pass. This month is a massive month of upgrades. And so there's been already 3 massive portals that we've gone through in October. So we're used to going through portals once every couple months. We've had 3 this month. That's intense, you guys. Your body's going to knock out. It's going to be exhausted because it is trying its best to acclimate, assimilate, and anchor. So let it be exhausted and do your best to give it that space to rest. Watch the movies, watch the Netflix, eat what you need to eat, lay. And if you wake up the next day and you're just as exhausted, it's okay. It's okay. I was just thinking about this today. I forced myself to yoga today because I hadn't gone in a couple days and I wanted to just move my body, but I was exhausted in yoga. And I'm never exhausted other than this month. This month, I have been beyond exhausted. So we're all going through it, right? And it's just a sign that this is kind of, and if you're not having exhaustion, you're still going through whatever you're going through, right? Don't be like, oh my God, I'm not having exhaustion. I should be having exhaustion. No, whatever you're having is perfect. But if you're feeling massive exhaustion, extreme exhaustion, if you can take days off of work, take it, cancel client sessions, do what you need to do. Can I get this done by Friday? I wish, Daniel, we could move from carbon to crystalline by Friday. Can you talk about patience? Well, patience is key in everything right now. Patience is one of the most beautiful gifts we can give ourselves, and one of the hardest things that humans practice. It's very hard for humans to practice patience because we are programmed to receive gratification right away, to receive accolades right away, to receive what we want right away. We're instant gratification, right? So we want to have that thing now. We want to experience that thing now. We don't want to have to work slowly towards anything, right? And if we do, we want to have the steps. We want to know, we want to see it all. Patience has a lot to do with control. When you surrender, you fall into deep patience. When you fall into a flow state, you fall into deep patience. When you are in a 5D consciousness, you live in a constant state of patience, meaning there's no push, there's no rush, there's no going anywhere. There just is. You're just in the now. And when you're in the now, you're not even aware that there's no patience even being experienced, right? You're just in the now. But when you start practicing moving into these higher states of consciousness, what you start to get aware of is how you have to have patience through this, right? Patience, patience, patience. Patience allows the ego to quiet. Patience allows the ego to slow down. Patience allows the ego to get comfortable with slowing down and not being in control. Patience is a massive learning tool for us so that we can step into now moments, 5D consciousness, and be comfortable in it. Oh, that's great. I'm sure there's tons of techniques and tools to really help with the exhaustion. I'm sure there are. So, Kristen, aren't our past loved ones, hold on. Oh man, that's annoying. Sorry. Oh, Kristen, where are you? Oh, aren't our past loved ones in the fifth dimension? Will we see them once we get into 5D? So the spirits that pass are in a fourth dimensional consciousness, or I shouldn't say fourth dimensional consciousness, that's not correct, a fourth dimensional field. They're in the fourth dimension. When your multidimensionality has turned on, which means that your multi-senses are on, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, you will access these other frequencies around you, these other dimensions around you, including the fourth dimension where a lot of the spirits reside. So it's not a matter of being in the 5D. It's a matter of accessing your multidimensionality so that you can tap into the other dimensions around you, right? And learning how to do that. So spirits are held in a fourth dimension. You can access them from any dimension because we live in a quantum field. You access a fourth dimensional being or consciousness by allowing yourself and the channel that is in your body to tap into that consciousness, that energy, and it funnels in, and then it is, what's the word I want to use? Digested multi-senses. And it's a matter of learning, practicing, and understanding all of that. And I teach that actually in my 4-week intro to channeling class that I'm starting November 19th. I'll put the higher dimensional frequencies that are around us, whether it's spirits, whether it's angels, whether it's your star family, whether it's galactic beings, whether it is ascended masters, whether it's dragons, fairies, whatever it is, it's all frequency, it's all energy. And it's remembering and learning how to tap, digest, and then translate it through your multi-senses. And so this class, I only teach it once a year. I'm teaching it again on the 19th of November, 4 weeks live. So it's going to be really awesome. I'm super excited. But no, spirits that have passed, they're in a fourth dimension. Rhonda, my eyes are getting better and joyful as I can see more. Ask yourself, what are you afraid to see, and tenderly take a peek. I like that. What is a lot of electricity from the base of your spine to the bottom of your legs? I don't understand that question, Omar. What is a lot of electricity? I mean, what I can just tap into is that you're feeling energy moving through your body. Energy is going to move all the way through the channel into the root, and then it's going to move all the way down into your body, into your legs, into your knees, into your ankles, into your feet, into your toes, down into the ground. Brandy says it sounds like Kundalini. Yeah, if it's going through your spine, your entire spine, it's the Kundalini awakening. So if there's an electricity, if there's a current that's going through the spine, people call that Kundalini. How do you turn off mind reading, Sherry? How do you turn off mind reading? Oh, you don't want to read people's minds. Dang, I don't know. How do you turn off mind reading? I'm just tapping into my guides and seeing if they want to share anything about that. So one of the things they're saying is choice. So you can start to ask, maybe you're already doing this and it's not working. I don't know. You can ask for it to be kind of turned off. The switch is off when you go out. Switches off, go out. Switches off, go in and out. When I go out, the switch is off. I'm not the mind reading is you're reading the energy of the other person. And if you don't want to, can you start to make a conscious effort when you step outside that today is not a day where you are going to be accessing other people's energies? It is a choice, but it becomes understanding how to kind of make that choice. The other thing about that question is, what is it that you don't like about it? What is the issue around it? Meaning, why? How is it impacting you? What's happening? What is uncomfortable around it? Like, what is going on? And the other thing that's coming in is boundaries. So your field around you. How firm in your boundaries are you? How much do you give? Are you a people pleaser? Because we're all designed to be able to access all of this energy. So are you a people pleaser? Do you have firm boundaries? Do you always want to help people? Are you always saying yes to people? This is just questions my guides are asking you, right? They're showing me that your boundaries are thin when it comes to wanting to help people and serve people and like be of service. So you want to have much firmer boundaries around your energetic field. Today I will be open. Today I will be closed. Today I will serve. Today I will not serve. And all of that is okay. Yes, to all of that above. I don't know what anyone said, but hey, hopefully that helps, Sherry. Okay, let's do one more question. Connie, that's a good question. What's the feeling I get in my head as though someone is literally touching my head ever so gently, like on my crown chakra? So it's a beautiful, beautiful question, because what it's showing you is higher dimensional beings are, so your higher self is inviting them in, okay? And they are almost like gently assisting and accessing the light that's coming in, and it's almost like they're softening it into you, or they're letting it kind of move in with more ease and grace, which all of our guides can do for us, right? So they're making this process a little bit softer on you. So you're actually feeling these beings, and they're probably a pretty high frequency if you're feeling it energetically. So we can all feel this if we want. All you have to do is ask your family of light or your guides to come in and to connect with you around the crown, and you'll feel them. So it sounds like, I forgot your name. It sounds like they are assisting the light coming in right now. And they're doing it gently, and they're a very high frequency. That's awesome. They're so gentle. Was it Connie that asked the question? Let me just double check. Yeah, Connie. Yeah, so the beings are very gentle with you. And you're very open, meaning that you are not closed off to the assistance. You're not closed. You're not afraid. Your crown isn't shut. So Connie, you're very open to all of it. So keep asking. Actually ask. Actually invite them in more. It's almost like they're with you, so you might as well engage. You might as well have conversation. You might as well ask them for things or start working with them, because apparently you're pretty receptive to them. That's great. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's exciting when we start to get confirmation of what we sort of already know, but we aren't sure. And then when someone else confirms it, it's like, oh, great. Okay, great. Let's see, what else? What about the feeling of itching or tickling on the face or other areas of your head? So that also can be higher dimensional consciousnesses. It could also just be you increasing your frequency and feeling that the frequency. But it could be them. It could be them accessing you, connecting with you energetically. Okay, I'm getting tired now. What else? Let's do one more. Oh, you're so welcome, Sarah. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys being here live. Kids with ascension symptoms, anything we can do to support them. Great question, Sheena. So validate and speak to them through your own experience. So this goes for any children or teenager that's navigating anything that is not, quote unquote, in the norm for that child to be experiencing, like nobody else around them is experiencing it. Share your stories with them. Tell them what you're going through. Let them feel like they're not crazy, right? That you don't hide what you're experiencing. A lot of times we feel like, oh, we can't share our experiences with these children because they won't get it. They won't understand it. That it's for adults only. No, the kid needs to know that other humans are experiencing the exact same thing. Tell them your story. Share your stories with them. If you know children that are really highly conscious, but may not want to talk about it or discuss it, gently start discussing your own experiences. That is the best way to allow a child to know that they're normal, that they're okay, that there's nothing wrong with them. The children that are ascending and waking up right now consciously need to be affirmed over and over again, reaffirmed over and over again that they're okay, that there's nothing wrong with them, that they may hear voices. That's okay, so do I. They may see things at night. That's okay, so do I. They may be hearing things from other people's heads. That's okay, so do I, right? It's all normal. It's okay. Just validate that for them by sharing your own experiences or other people's experiences. They're capable of holding it. They're capable of understanding it. They're very high frequency beings in a tiny little human form trying to navigate this. And they don't yet have all the skills, human skills, that we have. So sharing stories about what your experience is, gently, of course, right? What you're going through, they'll be able to sit with that. They'll go home or go into their bedroom or wherever, and they will hold that knowledge and they'll feel not so crazy. Think of how you're feeling right now. And you're what, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and you think you're nuts. Imagine a little kid who has nobody to ask. And all the children around him or her are just going about their day. And this child is consciously figuring out what the heck's going on with him energetically. Right? If we're going nuts and we're confused and we think we're going cuckoo, what's a child doing? So share your experiences. Don't be afraid to share your experiences. Share your experience. There's a new portal that opened. It's not with the Syrians, but the Syrians are always working with us. The Syrians are always working with us. But this portal is not with the Syrians. I actually don't know what beings are connected with. Sorry, I just had this closed. I don't know what beings are connected to this portal that's opened right now. It's not the Syrians, though. But I did get a loud message yesterday from them, and I got a loud message today from them. All right. I think I'm going to go. How can I overcome not wanting to be here? Surrender to being here. Can you start surrendering to just being here? Let go. So that's like a fighting feeling, like pushing and not wanting to be resistance, right? You're resisting and fighting, and it's okay what you're feeling. That feeling of not wanting to be here is totally normal. It's very much okay, right? There's nothing wrong with it. But instead of fighting the feeling of like, I don't want to be here, 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 this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Can you start to flip the coin and surrender to being here? Because there's a reason you're here. You know, there's a reason you're here. And you may be feeling those consciousnesses of, I don't want to be here, this sucks, I don't want to be here, this sucks, I don't want to be here, this sucks. Yeah, it does sometimes, right? But you're going to shift into a different version of you in another now moment, no matter what. You're just here right now. And when you're here, I don't want to be here, it's really hard to want to be in a higher frequency, right? But there's a reason you're here. You're a light worker and a way shower, regardless of what you're feeling, regardless of what you're experiencing. You're a being of light that chose to drop into the human form that you're in right now. And you're consciously ascending and you're waking up. And as you wake up, it might be even more strenuous or challenging or difficult, or maybe not. Maybe it's more joyful and loving and freeing and exciting and like, yeah, like the guy that's in Disneyland, right? His life is in Disneyland. We're all experiencing it differently, but you're here for a reason. You chose this. So just surrender. Try to surrender. Surrender, surrender, surrender. Feel it, but surrender to kind of trying to fight it or push through something or change something. All right, you guys. It's getting harder. Sometimes it feels like it's getting harder, Kimberly, because you're waking up more. So you're shifting into higher frequencies. And sometimes that can create this kind of illusion that it's getting harder, these feelings of feeling like it's getting harder. It's just you squeezing through portals, okay? So if it feels like it's getting harder, you guys, I've had days where it's like, oh my God, this is hard. This is intense, right? There's always the flip side, and you're always shifting into higher states of consciousness, no matter what. It's just that you may be funneling through massive density. When you wake up more and more and more, you're going to flush out massive amounts of density, and it can feel like wanting to give up, not wanting to be here. It can feel like depression. It could feel like suicide. It can feel like a lot of different things, okay? But the more light you bring in, the more conscious you get, the more it may feel darker as that darkness, that shadow, that consciousness that's denser moves out of you. So Can you also, as it's getting harder or it's challenging or you don't want to be here, can you also start to hold that there is an aspect of you that's standing right here, holding higher frequencies and joy and love and peace, and is like cheering you on. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Just keep going. Keep your head down one day at a time. Keep your head down one moment at a time. Keep your head down one second at a time, right? Just do what you can do. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your support. I wouldn't be doing this without every single one of you. So it's an honor. And many of you know that I do have an online community I started. And if you want to take a look, I'll put the link down below. You can go in and take a look at what I've done already on the lives. They're all lives that I do there. So channeled messages, Q&As, mini sessions, lots of stuff's going on over there. So still showing up live here for you guys, but there is another way of accessing more of me. Be gentle with yourselves. I love you. You are loved. You are guided. You are held. You are miraculous. You are amazing. And I'll see you in 2 weeks, if not before, for another live Q&A. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Mwah. Bye.